Okay, so today I'm back. First and foremost, I'm back, and I apologize for the wait. I've been kind of going through a content crisis, trying to figure out what kind of content to bring on YouTube. I've been doing a lot of stuff on TikTok, a lot of stuff on Instagram. Make sure to follow me. I'm gonna put my TikTok and Instagram in the corner here. Please go follow me on there if you haven't already. And let's get right into this video. So today I have a really interesting sneaker. I have a 1989 dead stock pair of sneakers, and I brought it on the show because I really wanted to show people what a 1989 sneaker looks like. I bought this pair of sneakers because I saw it in the Sneaker Freaker Ultimate Sneaker Guide, and I was actually looking through a lot of these vintage sneakers on there, and I wanted to see kind of like if I could still get any of them, if anyone was selling these on eBay. So I checked on eBay and I found a 1989 vintage Lava Flow. This is definitely one of the weirdest sneakers I've ever seen. It honestly looks like a sneaker from a totally different era, totally different time. It's something that I was a little bit shocked by when it actually showed up, because just how much it's falling apart. If I kind of go here, you can see that the entire sole is kind of ripping off of it. I don't want to do it too much because I'd kind of like to preserve the, I don't know, I'd like to preserve it, keep it mostly on there. But yeah, I brought this sneaker to the show because, you know, this is one of those kicks that really pushed the boundaries in a lot of ways. So the reason why I pulled this out is this was at a time where Nike was really starting to experiment with the Nike ACG series. At this point in 1989, the ACG part of Nike was nowhere near as big as it is today. And I think this is actually a Nike ACG pair of kicks. There's actually no ACG labeling on it. But this is the part of Nike that I think would eventually become Nike ACG, which I think stands for All Conditions Gear. So this is a cool pair of kicks for a few reasons. This is a time where Nike was really starting to experiment with colorways and starting to bring brighter and more interesting colorways and more interesting ideas into their sneakers. Another cool thing about this sneaker is this is actually a pair of sneakers that is meant for climbing volcanoes, hence the name Lava Flow, and the colorway is actually the hot red yellow colorway. And also, if you look here on the back tag, it looks like they've got some sort of like rocky sort of like, I don't know, texture on the back there. And I think they were trying to go for maybe magma or lava on the side here of the swoosh. So this is a pair that kind of sits on my shelf a lot, and it reminds me of how far sneakers have come and sort of like the changes in sneakers over the years. Like I said, this is 1989. I was born in 1993, so this sneaker is actually older than me by 4 years. Another cool thing about this is the fact that it's still dead stock. No one has ever worn this pair of sneakers. It's an interesting pair for a lot of reasons. It is breaking down, so you know that is an issue. But at the end of the day, I feel really lucky that I got to bring sort of like a retro sneaker to the channel. It's something that I don't see a lot of other people doing on their sneaker channels. And like, why would you? You know, you wouldn't be able to really wear this. I mostly got this more for like show and tell purposes, because I think that just kind of seeing what the history is of Nike and seeing kind of what they have done over the years is something that's really interesting to me. So yeah, so we got a 1989 Lava Flow sneaker. The colorway is hot red yellow charcoal. And some interesting characteristics about this pair of kicks is the fact that this is one of the heaviest sneakers I've ever held in my hands. Probably the box, when you're lifting up the box, this thing probably weighs like 8 pounds, okay? I have no idea why the sneakers are so heavy, other than the fact that maybe since they are sneakers meant for climbing mountains, but specifically not just any mountain, these are specifically meant for climbing volcanoes. I can imagine that maybe they use probably thicker materials and a different type of maybe thicker rubber or something like that. Potentially the weight behind this sneaker has to do with the fact that it was meant for climbing in really sort of rigorous and maybe even incredibly hot conditions. So I'm guessing that this is a pair that they designed specifically for climbing mountains, but I would actually have to compare this to maybe another early 1990s or late 80s sneaker to see if other sneakers in that era were just as heavy as this one, or if this one is particularly heavy because it's an ACG series sneaker. Another thing that's cool about this is if you look at Nike ACG stuff in these days, a lot of times you will see the actual Nike ACG All Conditions Gear labeling on here. This doesn't have any All Conditions Gear labeling on it whatsoever. And in fact, it doesn't even have it doesn't have the swoosh on both sides. It just has the Nike swoosh on the one side, the outer side of the sneaker. And interestingly to me, I thought it was really unique how it doesn't even have a swoosh on the tongue here. And it just has a basic Nike on the back there. And it actually looks like the Nike logo is slightly off tilt a little bit. So definitely something that I think is kind of cool. So the reason why I brought this to the show today is I really wanted to bring something unique. I wanted to show kind of like what it was like in the 1980s if you wanted to go out and buy an interesting hiking sneaker. I got this for $80 off of eBay, and I'm honestly just thinking about maybe putting it in a glass case or something. I like the fact that it's already an old sneaker, and I kind of like looking at it because it reminds me of how far sneakers have come over the years. This is definitely an interesting sneaker as far as that goes. And another thing that I find interesting about it is that the materials are really, really unique. So the leather on this is really, really thick leather. If you look at a lot of the leather on the newer Jordans, it's still pretty thick, but it's nowhere near as thick as this. This is probably about, I don't know, a millimeter thick leather, maybe even 1.5 millimeters. This is some really thick stuff. And it's also very heavy duty. Yeah, more on that. Let me get to some other aspects of the shoe that I really think are some cool aspects. So one thing, like I said earlier, is this is a time where Nike was really starting to experiment more with like different colorways and alternate colorways, and they're really trying to start to make sneakers look and seem more favorable to the consumer, to the person who is going to end up buying them. And I think that they really did a great job here with this for a lot of reasons. When I look at the swoosh and you look at the name of the colorway is Hot Lava. Actually, we got the Lava Flow, Hot Red, Yellow, and Charcoal. And you can really kind of tell that the inspiration for the swoosh came from, the actual lava flow that happens in volcanoes. So that's something that I think is really unique about it. And if you look at a lot of the other sneakers from this era, a lot of them weren't that colorful. Maybe if you did have a really colorful pair of sneakers, it might be like a Reebok Pump or something like that, but it might have a few dashes of color, and it might not be as bright and colorful as a lot of the sneakers that you see today. Something like, it would be nowhere near as colorful as maybe like a Kyrie Irving sneaker or a Kevin Durant sneaker or even some Jordans out there. So I really think that this is a cool historic piece, specifically for the sneaker community. I got it because I was really interested in it. I thought that it was something cool to have on the shelf. Not just the sneaker is cool, the actual box itself is very cool. The box is a vintage box, so let me show you the box here. So here we have a vintage Nike box as well. This is, like I said, the sneaker is actually older than I am. This is from 1989. This is 4 years before I was born. This is when this came out. The top of the box says that this was made August 14th. So I'm wondering if this was made August 14th, 1988 or 1989. So this actually could be even a year older than when this sneaker was released. But I think that what's really cool about this is you get to see some of the changes in history. You get to see where things were in 1989 as far as sneakers go, and you get to sort of compare and contrast that to where we're at right now in 2021 with our sneaker culture now. It's actually, to me, I think it's really fascinating to see the differences and the changes over time. This sneaker is an 8.5 size sneaker, and it was made originally in the Republic of Korea. I think now we call it South Korea. I don't know if they still call it the Republic of Korea, I'm not sure, but yeah. So all in all, I think I'm gonna leave this video pretty short. I did want to bring this to the channel today just to kind of show like how things have changed over time. And this is such a, you know, old sneaker that you get to see a lot of really drastic changes, big drastic comparisons between where sneakers were back in the late 1980s versus where they are today. And I think at some point I'm gonna be trying to get maybe an old pair of Air Force Ones, or maybe even an old pair of Air Jordans. Air Force Ones are probably gonna be a little bit easier to cop than old pairs of Air Jordans, but I would like to see what a 1985 or 1986 or 87 pair of Air Force Ones looks like as well. I'd be interested to compare and contrast how heavy these sneakers were compared to the Air Force Ones from like 1985 or 1989. And all in all, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Peace.